video. I'm Josh Flagner at morethanafan.net. You can find me at RailbirdJ. I'm joined by Damian Bowman. He's also from morethanafan.net. You can find him at Damian Bowman on Twitter, and Hayden Grove, the newest editor of the team on morethanafan.net. You can find him on Twitter at H_Grove. If you're looking for the website on Twitter, we are kicking ass and taking names. That is at MTAF Sports. And find us on Facebook, facebook.com/MTAFnet. So for the first ever video More Than a Fan podcast, you're looking at three faces. Me, Damian, and Hayden. Damian has some guests behind him. Hayden is sitting in my kitchen. I'm in my office. Like I said, this is the first one, so we're just going to go with it and see what happens. Talking Indians. We had a lot of Indians drama here in Cleveland to start off this, be in the middle of this road trip with Chris Perez on the disabled list. And obviously, the news with Chris Perez, and we have all the facts on morethanafan.net, thanks to Lisa Wade, is that he got busted with marijuana. And there are a million different scenarios, a million different things. We're hearing reports, we're hearing rumors about how much, what he was charged with. The facts are pretty easy. He was charged with a misdemeanor 4, possession, and he faces possibly a 25 to 50 game suspension from MLB if all this holds up in court. But Damian, you can start. It might not be that simple as just that misdemeanor 4 possession.
Yeah, I think I would be surprised that the postal police or whatever they call themselves wouldn't get involved and charge him with sending some kind of controlled substance through the mail. I mean, you would have to think that would be some type of federal crime, but from what I understand, some people are saying that it might come down to whoever the sender is and not who the receiver is. So I'm not 100% sure, but those facts will come out soon enough. Excuse me while I eat a cheeseburger.
That's the beauty of video. These are the things that we've been able to hide for the first 69 podcasts on More Than a Fan. If you're out there and you know about these rules, if you know about federal USPS mailing marijuana rules, I mean, obviously it's cut and dry. You would think we've all seen enough movies about the FBI that if you send marijuana across state lines, that's a federal offense. And I have to assume that it's even worse if you're sending these things across state lines through the federal mail system. I mean, I figure I could probably send weed to my neighbor and get in trouble because it went through the mail. Hey, Hayden, do you know any of this? And, I mean, what do you feel about Chris Perez and what's actually going to go on? I mean, he's on the DL now, so we don't even know if he's going to come back healthy.
All I know is that if there was some sort of law for being an idiot, then he would definitely be charged with stupidity beyond belief. How about that? I don't know much about the actual legal charges, indictments, whatever, but in terms of baseball, the guy has already lost out with fans. He's never going to be a fan guy again. He might not pitch for the Indians again this year, depending on his injury and his suspension. He might not even don an Indians uniform ever again, and I wouldn't be sad. I really wouldn't. He's been a good pitcher. He's had a good couple of years, and with closers, you never know what you're going to get. So, and closers have a short lifespan usually. They're never usually around for a long time. So I would just be happy with what Perez has given us. I'd kind of just say, see you later. Have a great life, and call it a career for him in Cleveland at least.
I don't know. I think that Damian said something, but I didn't hear him. So I just wanted to reiterate today, this is a test podcast. We're live. It's the 70th podcast. You're going to see our smiling faces on morethanafan.net, and there's even a possibility that Damian has slinkily somehow figured out how to tweet this on-air podcast, and now we're just looking silly live to everybody. But I guess those are growing pains. Damian, are you back with us?
Yeah, here I am. I was asking Hayden, who do they get? Who's going to be the closer now? Where do they go? What's the path?
Well, I think they have to go with Pistano. I mean, I think that he's earned that right. He's sure he hasn't pitched well lately, but I think that I think it's a respect thing. I think that Cody Allen has a closer's arm. He has a closer's mentality. He wants to be the closer ultimately. But at the end of the day, I think Pistano has earned that right. He's been the setup man for quite a long time. He's proven that he's here to win. He wants to, play here and win here. So I think that in terms of long term, I think you have to go Vinny. I think you have to go Vinny because he's not going to be happy if you put him, behind Cody Allen, and he's been there waiting for the job to open up, and the job's opening up, and you pass him over with Cody Allen. He's going to be upset, and that could turn him away from signing again here. So I say you got to go Pestano. I like Cody Allen as a closer. I really do eventually, but as of right now, you have to go Vinny.
Josh?
Well, so I mean, I guess the plan's got to be, because I'm not a proponent of putting Vinny Pistano in that role, not because I don't think Vinny Pistano is a good pitcher or that he can or can't do it. It's just that I like him where he is, and I don't want to ruin his confidence. I don't want to put him in the closer position. If he blows a couple of games, the old guys can talk all they want about pitching wherever you're needed, but it isn't like that anymore. And if you're specifically trained mentally to go out there and be the eighth inning guy and get holds, which is a ridiculous statistic, but if you're mentally trained, I mean, it's just a different thing mentally. This is not, this isn't Dennis Eckersley. This isn't Raleigh Fingers. This isn't the era where you send a guy out in the seventh and he gets 9 outs for you and gets the save. These guys are specifically trained to do one thing. I would much rather keep Vinny Pistano where he's been trained mentally, where he's mentally comfortable, keep him in that role, and then take the young guy like Cody Allen. He's still moldable. Like, he's never been in any role yet. I feel like you can change his mentality a lot more easily to put him in the closer's role than you could Pistano. I will say, with a caveat though, I wouldn't be angry if Terry Francona and the Cleveland Indians management, assuming that Chris Perez never comes back, and that's a big assumption at this point, but assuming that he doesn't come back, I'm not going to be up in arms and run around and say, oh, I disagree, if Vinny Pistano is the closer for this year or for at least most of this year, because I do get that, well, I would rather have the young, fresher mind of Cody Allen in that closer's role to try to learn that position. There is something to be said with maybe too much too soon. So if Vinny Pistano is the closer right now and for the next 50 games, maybe even the rest of the season, and then they move Cody Allen there and they get Vinny Pistano comfortable, it's a shame that we have to deal with not only the mentality of the role in which these players train for, whether you're an eighth inning guy, a closer, a starter, anything like that. We also have to worry about massaging their egos. Honestly, and maybe I'm just enamored by, the love that we all had for Vinny Pistano, but I don't see him as the kind of player who has an ego that you need to massage. I think that you put him in the closer's role for right now, you get Cody Allen ready, and when Cody Allen is ready, you put him in the closer's role, and I think Vinny will be fine. I mean, honestly, if he's not going to sign with the Indians to a big league deal when that decision is going to be made, him being a closer or a setup guy isn't going to matter. If he doesn't want to play here, he's not going to play here.
I agree completely with you because, okay, I think that you're right. I think that you have to mold Cody Allen into the closer role. I don't think he's there yet. I think you're exactly right about Vinny. I think just at first, though, you have to give him the respect of putting him in the closer role because he's earned it. I think he's pitched well enough to earn it, and if Cody Allen comes in later and jumps him for that role, then so be it. That's how it works. But I think you have to do Vinny Pistano the justice of closing him this year, and if he works out, then you keep him. And if he doesn't work out, then there's a guy that you're grooming for the role. And I think that's how it's going to have to work.
See, that bugs me because I don't think that you have to do him the justice. If you have a guy that is more capable and better at being the closer than Vinny Pistano, use that guy.
Yeah. Yes, but I'm saying right away, you don't know if Cody Allen's going to be better, so you have to at least try Pistano first.
Okay, all right. I cut Damien off, but now he's eating a cheeseburger. So I was about to throw it to Damien, but I can see him chewing. This hangout is a lot harder than I thought.
What I was going to say is, before I started eating, is I think the closer is the least of the Indians' problems right now. Like, they can't even get to the point to where they need a closer. So what's the solution to that problem?
Well, I don't think the weakness of this team at the beginning of the season, and God, I hate it because I don't want to sound like an "I told you so" guy, because that honestly bugs me. But the weakness of the team at the beginning of the season was the starting rotation. I think that was pretty easy to figure out. We all talked about it. Like, I'm not the only guy. All of the people around said it was a starting rotation that was going to kill this team, and it is. Our offense has a couple of bad games. And offensively, we did play pretty poorly against the Yankees. We didn't play that bad last night against the Detroit Tigers offensively, but Ubaldo Jimenez was awful. So, I mean, you've got to be perfect in both. When you're a 500 team, when that's your talent level, you have to be perfect and lucky in all aspects to really click. When the Indians won 18 of 22 before this tough road trip, I really believe that we were perfect and lucky, and we really clicked, and we won a ton of close games, and we got there. But now when you play teams that are better than you, or teams that are at least as good as you are, and I think the Tigers are better than us on a position-by-position talent scale, you don't have the ability to have an off game. You don't have the ability Ubaldo Jimenez can't give up those runs and then think you're going to come back. You can do one or the other, right? Because
right.
if you've got perfect starting pitching last night against Detroit, you win that game because the Indians came back late and made it interesting. But you didn't have perfect starting pitching, and that's the nature of what I think made this a 500 ball club at the beginning of the season, and we're just now starting to see it because now we're playing teams that are as good as we are or better.
And I'm looking at something that Ryan tweeted last night. I don't know at what point he tweeted this, but he said, Miggy and Fielder 0 for 7, and the Indians still trail 7-3. So, I mean, those guys didn't do anything yesterday, and everybody else on the team picked them up, but nobody on our team seemed to be able to do anything. Is that a good assessment or a bad assessment?
That's a good assessment.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that Ryan was spot on. You can follow Ryan at Isley23 on Twitter. I think Ryan is spot on there that the Tigers, the reason that everybody picked them to win the AL Central, right? I mean, I think most people did, and the reason that they're likely for the second or third year running now a serious World Series contender, maybe not favorite, but I mean, they're a championship contender, and the reason is they have enough around them that when their star players don't pitch well, or when their star players don't play well, or the times when Justin Verlander comes out and isn't an ace, and not that he always is, but he doesn't pitch lights out, you're always going to be able to pick up around him and still be a contending ball club. I honestly think that the CC Sabathia, when we played the Yankees, CC's outing where he gave up 4 or 5 runs, but he still pitched a complete game and got that win.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And this Tigers team has the same thing. There's enough around the stars to still play well, and the Indians just don't have that yet. We've got a great veteran foundation. Believe me, I'm optimistic and hopeful about this Indians team. We're just not there yet.
Well, I'm gonna say that last year the Detroit Tigers made the World Series, and they were missing one of their best players, and that's Victor Martinez. You got a guy in Victor Martinez that's a switch hitter, middle of the order guy, brings power, brings contact, hitting behind 2 of the best hitters in the game. I think the Tigers are the World Series favorites. I mean,
That's fair.
I think you obviously have, Texas, and there are teams in the NL and the Atlanta Braves are certainly, contenders in their own right. But with the way that Scherzer's pitched this year, with the way that, Verlander's even struggled, they're still going to be a team. They're going to be the team to beat come October. And I don't think the Indians have a shot against them in the division. I think the Indians' only shot is in the wild card. So, again, I just wanted to make that point that last year they made the World Series without one of their best players. So,
do you think the Indians have a chance to get that one of those 2 wild card spots? I don't see it. I think the East is too strong, and I think there might be a team out of the West that might get it.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think that we're going to get a wild card spot either. I think even if you're 500, which I've said it a million times, I think 500 is great for this team, but that's not good enough to get a wild card spot. You're not a playoff team at 500 in the American League.
No. The AL East might have 3 or 4 contenders in terms of, a playoff spot. You got the Yankees, Red Sox, Tampa Bay, and Baltimore. They're all above 500. They're all going to compete for that division, and they're all going to beat the Indians for the wild card spot. So, in terms of Indians' playoff hopes, I just don't see it right now. Obviously, anything can happen, but
No, that's absolutely true. The American League East is the perfect example of that, though. You're right. The Tampa Bay Rays are 6 games over 500, and they're the second from last team in the standings in the AL East. They're the only team worse than them in the East is the Toronto Blue Jays, and
who are
they've been an abomination. Yeah, I can't believe what's happened in Toronto.
Right.
Anyway, though, just to sort of wrap this all up, I think that I don't want to go too long on our first ever YouTube Google Hangout broadcast / podcast. I don't want to overload people on our pretty faces because really this could be a bit much. But to bring that all back around, just to touch on Chris Perez and get back to the Indians, are we, the 3 of us at least, and I think that we're smart enough to form an opinion that we're willing to give to people, are we okay with, do we think Chris Perez is going to be back? And we're all ready to deal with whatever suspension might come down for Major League Baseball. Just for the listeners' sake, if you do go to morethanafan.net and check out Chris Perez and MLB Rulebook's Facts, that's from Lisa Wade. She's been with us forever and ever and ever. She was actually a co-founder of More Than a Fan, but she doesn't really write for us a lot anymore. She deals as a job with drug testing and workplace rules and safety and all these issues that we're talking about. And she wrote a post, and it was just a quick one, but it does outline that Major League Baseball has a possession clause for drugs of abuse, and marijuana in the CBA is listed as a drug of abuse. So there is a possession clause where Chris Perez could face a 25 or 50 game suspension. We're the 3 of us. We're ready for that, and how much do you think that ends up hurting the team on the field? Maybe not in the clubhouse, but on the field. Damien, you start.
Well, I think Perez is going to be gone. I think, like Hayden said before, I don't think you can bring him back. I don't see a scenario in which he can come back and pitch, even if he doesn't get suspended. I have to think that Shapiro and Anthony will find a way to get rid of him. I don't know what you do or where you go with him or whatever, but you have to think he's going to go. And like we said before, the Indians have to first worry about getting to the point where they need to use a closer on a consistent basis. That's more important than who's in the closer's role, because if nobody can get to the 9th inning, then it doesn't matter. But I think they'll probably end up going with Pastano for now, even though we all probably agree that Cody Allen might be a better option. But like Hayden said, I think you're going to have to give him the chance to fall on his face before you just go to Cody Allen. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I kind of think that that's the direction that they're going to go in.
Hayden, are you ready for Chris Perez never to just be back? And how much do you think that it's going to hurt the team? Damien, and that's a good point that Damien brought up earlier and reiterated, that we have to get to where we need a closer. But it's a long baseball season. We won 18 of 22, and then we've just lost 4 or 5 in a row, I think, swept by the Yankees. The Indians are going to win 5 or 6 games in a row again this season. The Indians are a good team. So we'll need a closer again soon. Hayden, do you think that how much is this going to hurt this team on the field?
I don't think it hurts. I think the only thing that's going to hurt this team on the field from Chris Perez is the distraction, is all, the media getting all into it, and, just the distraction of having a guy with, semi-large charges on his case. So I don't think it's going to hurt on the field too much. I think that he wasn't pitching well when he was pitching this year, and I don't think he would pitch well if he came back. So the only thing that would hurt this team would be the distraction, and if, again, as Damian said, if Pestano falls on his face, then that's how it goes. But I don't think that Perez's absence is going to hurt this team. I don't think it's going to help the team, but I don't think it's going to hurt this team. We have a lot of, maybe I shouldn't say this as the way they've pitched lately, but I think we have a good amount of bullpen depth. And, if Pestano falls on his face, you go to Cody Allen. And if Cody Allen falls on his face, then you're screwed. But I don't think both of them are going to fall on their face. And I don't think that Perez's absence is going to hurt all that much.
When's Perez supposed to be back?
He was on the 15-day DL. I'm not sure what his activation date is going to be. I don't even think that he's started to get back into throwing yet.
No.
The way that baseball teams juggle their DL stints and everything, I'm not sure when he'll be back.
Look out for two players coming in the bullpen. I think Brett Myers is going to end up coming back in the bullpen. If he ever gets back. And J.C. Romero, they just signed him.
Oh, right. J.C. Romero, I forgot about him. Aiden?
So it'd be a nice, just adding to my point of bullpen depth if these guys don't, come together.
And that's an interesting little thing. J.C. Romero, you're absolutely right. And for anybody watching, Hayden had a little bit of a freeze, and I don't know if anybody else saw that, but Damian and I sure saw that. And that's part of, just to break down the fourth wall a little bit, just like I wrote the June update on morethanafan.net to let everybody know what's going on. We're trying new things, and this is one of the new things. So if this wasn't perfect, if you liked it, if you hated it, let us know. You can find me on Twitter. You've got our Twitter names down there on our lower thirds. That's fancy. The website is at MTAF Sports. You can email any one of us. It's our names at morethanafan.net. That's not very complicated. And you can also email the webmaster at morethanafan.net if you want to find us. You can leave us comments anywhere you go. Google Plus page, Facebook page, Twitter, emails. We will find them. We will respond. We'll figure it out. So let us know. Give us your feedback. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. We talked about the Cleveland Indians. We talked about some of the bullpen issues. We did not talk about Josh Gordon and his codeine problem. There really aren't enough facts to talk about that yet, but we'll get that for another time. I wanted to talk about Indians and get this figured out. So, Hayden, you can start with our plug time. We're going to end this podcast /broadcast /hangout. I guess I'm going to have to figure out a way to brand these if we're going to continue doing them. Plug time for you, Hayden. What do you have coming up? What's going on this week? And welcome and congratulations on your new editor role on morethanafan.net.
Well, that's a big thanks to you guys for trusting me. I'm a pretty young kid, and it's an honor to be trusted by big old fancy people. So
easy on the old.
I just meant experienced, veteran people. I'm making it sound worse. Yeah. Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity. I'm going to work my butt off to, do the best job I can. So, in terms of plug time, I'm not going to plug myself. I'm going to plug a new writer named Dan Zaleski. He is DZ at morethanafan.net, and he's a great guy. Talked with him many times. Used to kind of sort of do a thing with him at the Cleveland Sports Fan Radio. He's done with that though, but he's with us now, and he's a great writer and a good guy. So yeah, follow him on Twitter at CommonManDZ, and you can email him at dz@morethanafan.net, and he's doing a weekly recap of Cleveland sports using social media and whatnot. So follow him.
Damian, can you possibly be any more modest than Hayden just was during his plug time? Do you have it in you?
Absolutely not. I won't even try. Follow me at Damian Bowman. Or you can email me, Damian at morethanafan.net. But I will plug someone else. I'll plug Aaron, who just wrote his first article for us today. I put the full court press on him, and he finally joined up. What about the Cavs in the draft? You can follow him at AaronM59. He's on Twitter there. He loves to troll everybody, so go ahead and start with him, and he will start with you.
We love Aaron.
he will start with you. That's fantastic. Anyway, that is it for the More Than a Fan podcast, broadcast, YouTube video. It is Saturday, June 8th. So if you're watching this on the website, remember this is Saturday, June 8th. So anything we may have said and it comes out that there's facts next week, whatever. I'm warning you, we're not liable. I'm Josh Flagner. You can find me on Twitter at RailbirdJ. Hayden Grove, Damian Bowman. Find the site on Twitter at MTAF Sports. And on Facebook, facebook.com/MTAFnet. We love y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.